Hello, all you bladers. Today we're finishing off the Leftspin Ultimate Attack Type combo by adding the disc and the driver. I have all the parts. First, on the top, you can see the Zwei Spriggan layer. I did keep the Retsu weight and I went with the Spriggan chip. Next, you can see the discs. Sting is 29 grams, Blitz is 28 grams, and Drake is 26 grams. Then you can see the drivers, and the drivers are lined up left to right from tightest spring to weakest spring. So evolution dash, tightest spring to destroy weakest spring. We're going to talk about each part with the layer and see which one is best by process of elimination. We're starting with the discs. First, we have Zwei Spriggan with the Sting disc. Now, with the Sting disc, the most important thing about this bay is going to be the main points of weight. These Zwei base's main points of weight are on the top left and on the bottom right. These main points of weight also connect with the weight, meaning they're in the same place as the weight, which adds a lot of weight to those 2 points. Now, because of this, the layer is unbalanced, but these points pack a massive impact. These smaller blue points here don't pack as much of an impact because they're smaller, less heavy, and have a less upward slope. Now, if you add the Sting disc, and let's say we're using the Volcanic Dash driver, so as you can see, we have the Volcanic Dash driver in it, and Sting's main points of weight are now here. So the main points of weight for the Sting disc are now here, in these 2 spots. So now, Sting's main points of weight are in these smaller spots, giving them more weight to do more damage. And these 2 spots have the weight of the Dragon Heads and the Retsu weight. So these 2 points are still going to be heavier, but Sting makes these parts heavy enough to keep the Beyblade balanced and have enough stability to keep on attacking. Another important thing with this Sting disc on this layer specifically is the spring-loaded gimmick and the weight. So the Sting disc with this layer will be about 57 grams, which is pretty heavy. And the spring-loaded gimmick, although it is very hard to move, the disc, if you hit your opponent with the disc, there is a slight chance that the spring-loaded gimmick might actually work, and you can do some massive damage to your opponent, not even thinking about the massive upward slope with these dragon heads and the weight on all of these points. So the Sting disc is definitely a very good option with the Zwei Spriggan layer. Next, we have the Blitz disc with the Zwei Spriggan layer, and the Blitz disc is a bit lighter than the Sting disc, about 1.5 grams lighter than the Sting disc, but that's not very much lighter. Now, if we look at the points of weight with the Blitz disc on the Zwei Spriggan layer, then you can see that they align completely at different spots. So the first main point of weight aligns in the middle of the dragon head. The second main point of weight aligns with the small contact point, and the third main point of weight aligns in the front of the dragon head. So you have front of the dragon head, middle of the dragon head, and small contact point. Adding more weight to these specific spots will definitely be good, but it will also be bad because it's unbalanced. Although this layer is already unbalanced, adding more weight on a specific 3 points could definitely help when you're doing a rush attack or you just have a really big charging hit coming up. Now, another thing with the Blitz disc is that underneath all this metal, there's these little plastic fins. When the bay is spinning at a fast speed, the plastic fins go upward. This causes the Beyblade to have upward force. When the Beyblade has upward force, that makes its upper attacks stronger. And as you can see by this dragon head, its upper attacks are definitely already strong enough to do damage on their own. With the added force of the Blitz Disc, the upper force of the Blitz Disc, and adding weight onto the main 3 points, those are definitely going to make the Blitz Disc have a massive impact with this layer. Next, we have the Drake Disc with the Zwei-Spriggan layer, and the Drake Disc was the original disc to release on Zwei Longinus. With the Drake Disc on the Zwei-Spriggan layer, when it's at half damage, it aligns perfectly. That's true. The disc aligns perfectly with the layer, but the contact points are just so far apart that you're only going to hit one of them anyway. It's not like they're combining forces. So with the Drake Disc, considering that it's only 26 grams, it somewhat scrapes because of its downward shape. It's pretty hollow, and because the contact points are so far apart, we're not going to be using the Drake Disc on the ultimate attack combo for Leftspin at least. Now that we've decided which disc is eliminated, the Drake Disc, now we have to decide out of the 2 best discs. What's important with the Sting Disc on this layer is that it's heavy, the spring-loaded gimmick, and the main points of weight add to the smaller points, making it more stable and making the smaller points have more damage. The Blitz Disc, again, has weight. It's about making the Beyblade unbalanced for rush attacks, and it's all about upward force. So, what we're going to do is, after we decide the driver, we're going to see which disc fits the driver and the layer combination better, and then we'll decide the disc. So first driver up is Evolution Dash. Now Evolution Dash has one of the tightest springs you will ever experience. Now the only reason I'm not using this driver specifically is one reason. It's not awakened. The Evolution driver is already aggressive enough, non-awakened as it is. Although the only problem is its speed. Its speed is nothing. It's not very fast at all. It does hit very hard, and when it's faster, it'll hit even harder, which is something I'm definitely excited to see, but at least for now, since it's non-awakened, we're not going to be using this driver. When it's awakened, I'll definitely give it thought. Next driver up is Dimension Dash. Like Evolution Dash, it has a very tight spring, but not as tight as Evolution Dash. Now, regarding the attack power on this driver is very aggressive, it is very fast, but like Evolution Dash, I'm not using this driver for one specific reason. They made it have a circular shape. Now, having a circular shape on an attack type driver makes it not have a good flower pattern. Like, not Destroy, because Destroy's circle is the free spinning ring, but it still has this thing in the middle that's not circular. With Dimension Dash, the whole driver is just circular. The shape of it is circular, so whenever you launch it angled, it won't do a flower pattern. And we need a flower pattern, especially with this layer. We can't just stall around and then hit the opponent after we've already lost stamina. We need a flower pattern, and because of that, the Dimension driver just doesn't meet our expectations. Next driver up is Spiral Dash. Spiral Dash has a hole in the middle, which is supposed to give the Beyblade more stamina. The Spiral driver is very good for one specific reason. Its spiral is shaped to grip onto the stadium for a counterclockwise bay. When this driver is on a counterclockwise bay, it has a very fierce grip on the stadium. And although it isn't the fastest driver, it does pack a very big punch, especially if the disc and the layer are heavy. So, the Spiral Dash driver is definitely not getting eliminated, and it is definitely going to stay as one of the options. Next, we have Volcanic Dash. Volcanic Dash, again, I'm not using for one specific reason. Two specific reasons. Number one, it's so fast that when you launch it, it just wastes all of its stamina around the outer edge, and it stalls. You do not want to stall with an attack type. Like, I'd rather, if I had to choose between Volcanic Dash and Dimension, I'd choose Dimension because at least Dimension goes towards the center earlier. Volcanic Dash just stalls, completely loses stamina, and then dies. It's good for KOing bays around the outer edge, but this is an attack type. We need to have the option to take out bays in the center and around the edge. And also, when you angle launch Volcanic, it makes this really weird sound, and it just doesn't do a flower pattern. So we're not going to be using the Volcanic Dash driver. Next driver is Power. Power, although it is not a dash driver, it has an extremely tight spring for not being a dash driver. In fact, this spring is tighter than some dash driver springs. Example, this driver's spring is tighter than Ultimate Reboot Dash's spring. Now, although this driver's spring is very tight, that doesn't really matter too much since we already have a wide array of dash drivers to choose from. Now, the thing that makes the Power driver special is it's not very fast, but it is hard-hitting, much like Spiral, except its Spiral isn't shaped to that of a counterclockwise bay. Instead, if you look at it, it has lots of little spikes. Its little spiral thing is more like a star, so it's more for both spinning bays, and it has lots of sticks. So this is supposed to help stabilize, I guess. That way it doesn't tilt over too much. And yeah, that's pretty much the only good thing about the Power driver, but the Power driver isn't very good, and although it does have a very tight spring, that's pretty much the only thing that's good about it. So because of that, we're not using the Power driver. Next, we have Ultimate Reboot Dash. Ultimate Reboot Dash is amazing.
It's amazing.
It has the perfect flower pattern, it has the perfect reboot, it has the perfect amount of speed, it has the perfect amount of hard-hittingness, plus it has a very good amount of LAD, and although its spring is weaker than most dash drivers, it's still tight enough to not burst. And because of all those very good reasons, and also because Ultimate Reboot Dash is my favorite attack driver, we're going to be using it. Last driver is Destroy. Now, if this was Destroy Dash, I'm gonna be honest, I probably still wouldn't use this. Destroy is a very good driver, but it's not just because of its attack. Destroy, it hits pretty hard, it's got a pretty good amount of stamina, and because of the free spinning ring around it, it has a very good amount of LAD. But these are not all attack driver traits, and although it is very aggressive, the stamina on it just leads it to be less aggressive. So even if this was Destroy Dash, I would definitely not choose it as an attack type driver over Ultimate Reboot Dash and Spiral, specifically because Spiral is good for left spins and Ultimate Reboot Dash is just amazing. And this isn't even a dash version, this is just plain old Destroy. It doesn't even have a tight spring. So we're not going to be using the Destroy driver. Okay, I did say that we would choose the driver first, then we would choose the disc, but same situation. There's just two discs and two drivers that are just so good. Now, as you can see, I have the Blitz disc and the Ultimate Reboot Dash driver on one side and the Spiral Dash and Sting on the other side. Now, the reason I did this is because what we're going to do is we're going to combine these drivers. So if we're using Blitz, we're using Ultimate Reboot Dash. If we're using Spiral Dash, we're using Sting. Because Spiral Dash's shape has a fierce grip on the stadium. Combined with Sting's massive weight, its spring-loaded gimmick, and the fact that every contact point on this layer combined with the Sting Disc has a massive amount of weight, Spiral and Sting is the perfect combination for hard hittingness and weight. On the right, we have Blitz and Ultimate Reboot Dash. Blitz helps with upward force. It is very flat, and it helps make the Beyblade unbalanced for big rush attacks. Ultimate Reboot Dash is the perfect driver for a flower pattern, and because of its reboots, it can enhance in the upward force, meaning make the upward force stronger because it's spinning faster. And upward force combined with the speed and the reboot of the Ultimate Reboot driver is just amazing, especially with these Leftspin layer and how heavy and upward slope it is. So what we have to decide is which one's better. Do we want weight and a grip on the stadium, or do we want upward force and speed? Now, let's talk about what makes an attack type good. What makes an attack type good is it needs to be able to take out bays in the center and around the edge. Now, if it's around the edge, it needs to be able to go super fast, or else it won't be able to catch up. If a bay is in the center, it needs to be able to rush attack the bay in the center. What attack types struggle with is sometimes if you're up against another attack type or simply just a driver, say Unite Dash, that has stamina but agility, attack types, once they get the first hit in, they can keep on hitting that bay. But if they don't get the first hit in, they don't have the proper trajectory to keep on hitting the bay. So if their opponent has agility, any sort of agility, they'll just not hit the opponent, and that's what's bad. So Spiral Dash may do better for this. Spiral Dash may be better at hitting an opponent with agility, but it may not be the best at taking out bays in the center simply because Spiral's shape digs into the stadium and you just can't tilt enough to go towards the center with that much of a grip on the stadium. Ultimate Reboot Dash is much better for hitting the bay in the center and speeding around, but Spiral Dash, because it's not as fast, is better for bays with agility. So, that said,
I'm choosing
Blitz and Ultimate Reboot Dash. Why? Simply because you don't really need to not be fast to hit your opponent. If your opponent has agility, simply just launch it into the walls and go around the stadium like crazy. You're sure to hit your opponent like that, especially if it's unbalanced. The ultimate attack type for Leftspin is Zwei, Spriggan, Retsu, Blitz, Ultimate Reboot Dash. Now let's go ahead and weigh this bad boy, and I can't wait to do test battles and see your decision on whether we should use Brave or Apocalypse for the right spinning ultimate attack type combo. So just to weigh this very quickly, the weight is about 63 grams. 63 grams, that's pretty good. Considering we have the Retsu weight, that's pretty good. For a GT Bay, that's pretty heavy. I mean, we can upgrade this, obviously, to Rage, Spriggan, 3A, maybe Ultimate Reboot Dash. But when we get Rage along with this, and that's going to be way heavier than this. And if we don't get around to getting Rage along with this soon, I'm definitely going to be getting Goku from the Tempest Dragon triple booster set, and we can use that to upgrade the weight. So yeah, definitely some upgrades. I'm definitely looking forward to putting this up against Mirage Fafnir 2S Yard, which is the counterclockwise ultimate defense type combo. I'm excited to do test battles for this bay, and until then, thank you for watching, and see you next time. So listen to Iger and subscribe, listen to Free and comment, listen to Louie and like, and until next time, keep on blading.